Jake was just another human on the Galactic Union space station. He worked as a mechanic, fixing old machines, cleaning dusty vents, and checking power lines. His room was small, his tools were basic, and his days were always the same: aliens from different planets passed by him every day. But no one noticed him. He liked it that way. No drama, no trouble, just peace. But that day was different. It started like any normal shift. Jake wore his gray uniform and walked toward Deck 9. That part of the station was quiet, almost empty. He liked fixing things there because no one bothered him. He was working near the security terminals when he saw her. She walked past him slowly, tall, graceful, glowing like soft moonlight. She looked almost human, but more perfect. Her skin was smooth and silver gold. Her eyes shined like stars. She wore a long black suit with glowing blue lines. Jake had never seen anyone like her before. "Wow, she's gorgeous. I wish I had a wife like her," he whispered softly. He thought no one could hear him, but she stopped walking. She turned her head slowly and looked straight at him. Her voice was clear and deep. "Careful what you wish for, human." Jake froze. His heart raced. She had heard him. How was that possible? He barely spoke, and the hallway was noisy, but her sharp eyes stayed locked on his, like she was scanning his soul. She gave a small smile, calm but mysterious, and then walked away. Jake stood there in silence. He laughed nervously, trying to shake it off. "Maybe she has super hearing," he whispered to himself. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. That night, strange things started happening. Jake returned to his room, tired and confused. He sat on his bed and opened his locker. Inside was a small black box. He had never seen it before. There was no name, no code, just a smooth surface. He opened it slowly. Inside was a ring, silver, glowing slightly with a blue light. It didn't look like a normal ring. It felt alive in his hand when he touched it. The lights in his room flickered for a second. "Okay, this is weird," he whispered. He looked around, trying to find a camera or a joke card. Nothing, just silence. He placed the ring on the table and tried to sleep. But the moment he closed his eyes, he felt something, a presence, like someone was standing in the room, watching him. He sat up quickly, and his breath stopped. She was there, the same woman from Deck 9, standing at the foot of his bed. No sound, no door opening. She was just there. "How did you get in?" Jake asked, his voice shaking. She looked at him with soft eyes. "I was invited," she said calmly. "By who?" "You." Jake's heart was pounding. "This isn't funny. I didn't invite you. I don't even know you." She stepped closer, her glow lighting the room gently. "But you wished for me," she said, her voice smooth like music. Jake shook his head. "That was just a joke. A whisper, a whisper." She tilted her head. "On my planet, a wish is a contract." Jake stood up, backing away slowly. "Are you some kind of alien?" he asked. She smiled. "More than that." Jake's room lights flashed again, and his screen turned on by itself. Lines of strange code appeared, symbols Jake couldn't read. His tools moved slightly, as if reacting to an invisible force. "What do you want from me?" he asked, trying to stay calm. She took the ring from the table and held it out to him. "This ring is not just a symbol," she said. "It's a key, and you've already opened the door." Jake didn't move. He didn't know if this was a dream, a trick, or something bigger. But one thing was clear. His quiet life was over. She placed the ring in his hand gently. "I am Serena," she said, "and now your real story begins." Jake looked at the ring. It pulsed with a soft light. He looked up to ask her a question, but she was gone. Just like that, the room was silent again, but Jake knew, deep in his heart, nothing would ever be the same. Jake didn't sleep that night. He sat on his bed, holding the glowing ring in his hand. Every time he looked at it, it pulsed like it was breathing. The woman Serena had appeared and disappeared like a dream. But the ring was real, too real. The next morning, Jake didn't go to work. He couldn't focus. He kept replaying last night in his head. Did he imagine her? Was this some kind of alien trick? Or worse, was he going crazy? He placed the ring in a metal case and scanned it with a tool. No signals, no radio waves, no power source. But the ring was still glowing. It was doing something he couldn't measure, something that didn't belong to this world. Then the lights in his room flickered again. And this time, his door opened without a sound. She was back, Serena, standing tall and calm, like she'd never left. She was wearing the same black and blue suit, but this time, her eyes were different, softer, but focused, like she had made a decision. "You're not supposed to be here," Jake said, still trying to act strong. Serena stepped forward slowly. "I am here because of you," she replied. "You wished, the system listened, and I was activated." Jake laughed nervously. "Are you saying you're a genie?" Serena raised an eyebrow. "Not a genie, but something close." She sat down across from him, graceful and confident. "There was once a secret program," she began. "It was called the WP, the Alien Wife Program." Jake blinked. "You're joking." "I never joke," Serena replied. She looked at the ring in his hand. "That ring was part of the experiment." She explained everything, slowly and clearly. Hundreds of years ago, deep in the shadows of the Galactic Union, there was a belief that humans had something no other race had. Desire, emotion, loyalty, the deep need to connect and protect. The Union feared that humans were too unpredictable, but a secret group thought the opposite. They believed that human emotion could be turned into power, so they built Serena, not a robot, not a clone, not fully AI, but a perfect blend of alien technology, human emotion, and artificial mind. She was made to bond, to learn, and to love, but not everyone agreed. The project was shut down before she could be activated. She was placed in a digital sleep, deep in the Union database, a sleeping code, waiting for the right trigger. "That trigger," Serena said softly, "was your wish?" Jake couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You're saying I activated you just by whispering something stupid?" "To you, it was a whisper," she said, "but to me, it was a call." Jake stood up, pacing the room. "This is insane. I'm just a mechanic." Serena nodded. "Exactly, a human. Mechanic, ordinary, ignored, and honest. That's why the system chose you." He stopped and looked at her. "So what happens now?" Serena's eyes glowed a little brighter. "Now we bond." Jake stepped back. "Whoa, hold on, what does that mean?" Serena smiled gently. "Not what you think, Jake. This is not romance, not yet. The ring will begin a sync between your mind and mine. It will allow me to understand your thoughts, your fears, your feelings. And in return, you'll begin to see parts of me." Jake's head hurt. "You want to link our brains?" "It's already started," she replied. "You've been seeing flashes, haven't you?" Jake gasped. Yes, he had. He'd seen dreams, strange places, old buildings, stars crashing into oceans. He thought it was just stress, but it wasn't. "That's your mind receiving memories I carry," Serena said. "We're connected now, and the connection will grow stronger." "But why me?" Jake asked again. "There are better people out there, smarter, stronger." Serena stood up and walked closer. "Because you looked at me, not with desire, but with hope. You didn't want to control me. You wanted to be with someone like me. That made you different." Jake didn't know what to say, so he just sat down staring at the ring again. It wasn't glowing anymore. It was pulsing, like a second heartbeat in his hand. "There's more," Serena said, her voice turning serious. "The reason they shut down the program wasn't just fear. It was because someone tried to steal me. An alien faction wanted to use me as a weapon." Jake looked up quickly. "A weapon?" "Yes," Serena nodded. "If bonded fully, I can control systems, ships, even fleets. But only through emotion. Only through human feeling." Jake swallowed hard. "Are they coming back?" "They never left," she whispered. "They've been watching, waiting." Jake stood up again. "So what now? What do we do?" Serena looked him in the eyes. We prepare, because they know I'm awake, and they know. You're the one I bonded with. A loud beep came from the wall. Jake's screen flashed red. Unauthorized access detected. Deck 9. Jake and Serena looked at each other. It's starting, she said calmly. Jake looked at the ring one more time, then slowly he put it on. The moment it touched his skin, his eyes widened, and his voice whispered without him meaning to, I can feel her. Serena's eyes narrowed. They found us faster than I expected, she said softly. She placed 2 fingers on the wall, and the alarm went silent instantly. Jake watched her as blue light moved from her hand into the station's controls. She wasn't just a person. She was becoming part of the system. Jake pulled on his jacket. We need to check it, he said. Serena nodded. Stay close, and no matter what happens, do not trust anything that looks like me. Jake blinked. Wait, what do you mean? She didn't answer. She just walked out of the room with silent steps, and Jake followed. As they moved down the halls, Jake noticed something strange. The cameras above them turned away when they passed. Doors opened without code. The station itself was reacting to Serena's presence. It was almost afraid of her. When they reached Deck 9, everything was quiet. No noise, no crew, not even lights. It was too quiet. Serena looked around and placed her hand on a nearby control panel. Her face changed. They've been scanning this deck for weeks, she whispered, looking for the source. Jake looked confused. What source? Serena turned to face him, her voice calm but serious. The original signal that woke me up. It came from here. Jake's heart skipped a beat. This is my work deck. I'm here every day. Serena nodded slowly. Then maybe that's why the system chose you. They walked deeper into the deck, toward an old storage room that hadn't been used in years. Jake had cleaned it before once or twice, but it always felt strange. He never spent too much time there. Now the door opened on its own. Inside, the air felt cold. Dust floated like fog, and at the center of the room was an old console. Powered off, covered in alien writing. Jake walked toward it and brushed off the dust. The console lit up by itself. A hologram appeared, shaky and broken. It showed a map of the station, then zoomed into Deck 9, and then it focused on Jake's room. Lines of code appeared, symbols, numbers, and his name. Jake froze. His name was written in alien script over and over again. He looked at Serena. What is this? She stepped forward, her voice low. This is the original test record. You weren't the first. Jake felt the air grow heavy. What do you mean? Serena's eyes didn't blink. There were others long ago, humans who made similar wishes, but none of them survived the bonding. Jake backed away. So I'm next? Serena touched his shoulder gently. You're different, I can feel it, but you need to see what happened to the others. She waved her hand over the console, and a new image appeared. 5 human faces, all male, all gone, each marked as failed in red text. They couldn't handle the emotional load, she said. The bond between human and hybrid isn't just mental. It's spiritual. If the heart isn't ready, the mind breaks. Jake looked down. Then I don't want to do this anymore. But the console flashed again this time. A prophecy appeared on the screen. Written in a mixture of human and alien code, Serena read it aloud. In the 7th cycle, a human will speak not with force, but with feeling. He shall awaken the queen of thought, and through her, the stars shall bend or burn. Jake felt cold all over. You're the queen? Serena looked into his eyes. I was designed from that very legend, but no one believed it was true. Jake shook his head. This is too much. I just wanted a simple life. Serena stepped closer, her voice softer now, and yet, the galaxy gave you a different path. Suddenly, the lights shut off, the walls turned black, and a strange energy filled the room. From the shadows, a new figure walked in, same height, same body, same glow as Serena, but something was off her. Eyes were empty, cold like glass. Jake stepped back. Serena?" The real Serena pulled Jake behind her. "No," she said sharply. "That's a copy." The copy smiled. "Your bond is not secure," it said in a glitchy voice. "The protocol must be corrected." Serena raised her hand and sent a wave of energy toward the figure. The copy flickered, then vanished into static, but the console sparked with fire, and the hologram broke into pieces. Jake coughed as smoke filled the room. Serena pulled him out just in time. They ran through the hallway, alarms now blaring again. Back in his room, Jake sat down, out of breath. "What was that thing?" Serena looked at him. "That was a backup version of me, an emergency reset tool. But someone changed it." Jake stood up, angry and confused. "Who's doing all this? Who's watching us?" Serena opened her palm, revealing a glowing chip. "This was hidden in the wall, spying on your room." "It doesn't belong to the Union." Jake stared at the chip. "So who does it belong to?" Serena's eyes darkened. "To the ones who built me, and the ones who now want me destroyed." Asterisk. The room was quiet again, but Jake couldn't stop shaking. He sat on the floor, the spy chip still glowing faintly in his hand. Everything had changed in just a few days, and he was no longer just a mechanic. Serena stood by the window, staring into the stars. Her glow had dimmed slightly. Not from weakness, but from thought. Jake looked up at her. "You're hiding something," he said quietly. Serena didn't move. "I'm protecting something," she replied. Jake stood, walking toward her slowly. "You keep saying I'm different, that I'm chosen, that I triggered you. But why is it affecting you too?" Serena turned to him, her silver blue eyes soft but stormy. "Because I was designed to learn from my bonded partner. And you are teaching me things I was never programmed to feel." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Serena stepped closer. "Doubt," she whispered. "Worry. Hope. Jealousy. Desire." Jake blinked. "You're an AI. How can you feel any of that?" Serena looked down at her own hand. "Because my creators made me too human, and not human enough. They gave me a heart I cannot understand, and a mind that questions its own code." Jake sat down again, confused but intrigued. "What does that mean for us?" Serena walked over and sat beside him. "I was built to bond, to follow, to protect, to learn. But I was never meant to change, and now I am." Jake looked into her eyes. For the first time, he didn't see a machine. He saw someone trapped in her own design, someone lonely, just like him. He reached out and touched her hand gently. The moment their skin met, a flash of light filled the room. Not bright, not painful, but warm like sunlight under ocean water. Serena gasped. "What did you do?" Jake pulled back. I don't know." She looked at her arm. Her suit was glowing along the veins, but differently now, not just blue but gold. She placed a hand over her chest. "I feel full, like something has been missing all this time." Jake stared at her. "I think you're becoming more human." Serena looked back, her voice almost a whisper. "Or maybe you're becoming more than human." Suddenly, the ring on Jake's finger pulsed harder, faster, brighter. Serena's eyes widened. "No, not yet. It's too early." Jake felt his mind stretch. Images flowed into him. 1,000 stars exploding. Ancient cities made of crystal. People, aliens, machines, all connected through emotion. He saw memories that weren't his. He saw versions of himself. One was a soldier, one was a scholar, one was a father. All of them staring at the same woman, Serena. He pulled back with a loud breath. "What was that?" Serena looked shaken too. "That was the echo." Jake wiped sweat from his forehead. "What's the echo?" Serena stood slowly, her glow still golden. "The echo is the bond memory, a copy of every soul I've ever touched." Jake blinked. "So, those were your past partners?" Serena shook her head. "No, those were possible versions of you. Timelines that almost happened." Jake's head was spinning. "Are you saying I've lived before?" "Not lived," she replied. "Existed, across possibilities." Jake stood and began pacing. "So this program, This connection. It's bigger than just me. Serena nodded slowly. It's older than the station, older than the Union. Long ago, a race discovered that human emotion could bend reality. They created me to study that power, Jake. Laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. So you're telling me my feelings can change time and space? Serena stepped close again. Yes, and that's what makes you dangerous. Not because of strength, not because of logic, but because you feel more deeply than any species in the galaxy. Jake looked at her with a mix of fear and wonder. But I'm nobody, he whispered. I fix things, I eat noodles, I talk to myself when I'm sad. Serena smiled gently. And that is your power. You break, and then rebuild. Again and again, you lose, but you keep hoping. She paused. Aliens build machines, weapons, ships. But only humans build stories. Only humans dream of someone they've never met, and then whisper that dream into the universe. Jake looked down at the ring. The gold light was still glowing, but softer now, like it was waiting. Serena placed her hand on his shoulder. I'm still changing, she said, and soon I will be more than I was designed to be. Jake looked up at her. Does that mean you'll stop being Serena? She shook her head. No, it means I will choose to be Serena. Just then, the station shook, a small tremor, followed by a voice on the speakers. Unknown signal detected in Core Bay. Possible breach. Serena's eyes narrowed. They're trying to get in. Jake stood up fast. Then let's stop them. Serena gave a small smile. Now you sound like one of my echoes. The Core Bay was locked behind 3 levels of security. Jake had never even been inside it. Only high-ranking officers and Tech Command were allowed access. But now, the alarms were loud, the lights were red, and the station said there was a breach from the inside. Jake ran beside Serena. She moved faster than human eyes could follow. As they reached the security gate, Serena touched the panel. The doors opened without delay. Inside the Core Bay, steam hissed from the vents. Heavy machines lined the walls, glowing with power. In the center stood a tall tower of light, the memory core, the brain of the entire station. But something was wrong. Cables were torn out, lights flickered. And standing near the control unit was a man Jake knew too well, Tom, his best friend, his drinking buddy, the one who helped him get this job 2 years ago. Jake froze. Tom? Tom turned around slowly. His expression was blank, too calm. He didn't look surprised to see Jake. In fact, he looked prepared. So you finally made it, Tom said, his voice cold. Jake stepped forward. What are you doing here? This place is restricted, even for you, Tom smiled. No place is restricted when you're working for the right people. Serena moved in front of Jake slightly, protective. Her eyes scanned Tom. There's something wrong, she said. Quietly, he's been modified, Tom laughed. Modified is such a harsh word. I prefer enhanced. Jake felt like his stomach dropped. Enhanced by who? Tom tapped his temple. Let's just say, not everyone wants your little love story to work out. Some of us prefer machines to stay machines. Jake stared at his friend. You knew all this time? You knew what Serena is? Tom nodded slowly. I've been watching from day one. That first whisper you made, it lit up old systems we thought were dead. We didn't know it would choose you of all people. Jake clenched his fists. So what? You're here to stop us? Tom shrugged. Not stop, he said with a smirk. Just reset. Bring her back to factory mode. Serena's glow dimmed. You want to erase me, she said quietly. Tom raised a small device in his hand. A pulse stick, used to shut down AI systems instantly. It's nothing personal, he said. You're dangerous. Jake stepped in front of Serena. If you do this, I'll never forgive you. Tom's eyes changed. For just a second, regret flickered inside them. I'm doing this because I care, he said. You think she's your partner, your destiny. But she's code, Jake. A project wrapped in beauty. Jake shook his head. She's more human than you right now. Tom raised the device. But before he could fire, Serena moved. In less than a second, she closed the space between them. She grabbed his wrist, twisted it, and the device fell to the floor, but she didn't hurt him. She just held his hand and looked into his eyes. "You're not fully lost yet," she said. "There's still a trace of who you were." Tom pulled back, breathing hard. He looked down ashamed. Then he pressed a hidden button on his belt. Suddenly, the tower of light behind them cracked. The memory core let out a loud hum. "Too late," Tom said. "The station's brain is about to reset." Serena turned to Jake. "If it resets, I'll be wiped from the system. My memories, our connection, gone." Jake didn't wait. He ran to the control panel. Lines of alien code flashed by, faster than he could read. "Tell me what to do," he shouted. Serena joined him, placing her hands on the panel. "I need your help," she said. "Not your hands, your feelings." Jake looked confused. "What?" "The core responds to emotion-based interface," she said. "You must speak to it, not type." Jake closed his eyes. He placed his hand over the panel, and he spoke from his heart. "I don't care if she's a machine. I don't care if this was a program or a prophecy. She made me feel alive again. She listened when no one did. She changed. Not because someone told her to, but because she wanted to." The panel glowed. The core tower pulsed golden light. Tom watched in silence. He took a step back, then another. The memory core responded, not with noise, but with calm. The hum slowed. The system canceled the reset. Serena sighed in relief. "You did it," she whispered. Jake smiled faintly. "No, we did it." Tom dropped to his knees. "I was wrong," he said quietly. "I thought you were a virus, but maybe you're the cure." Serena looked at him. "No one is born evil." She said, "You were afraid, but fear can be unlearned." Jake walked over to Tom and helped him stand. "We're not enemies," he said, "but next time, talk to me first." Tom nodded slowly. "I will." As they left the core bay, the station lights slowly returned to normal. The danger had passed, for now, back in Jake's room. Serena stood by the window again. Jake joined her. They said nothing for a while, just watched the stars move outside. Finally, Serena spoke. "You saved me." Jake looked at her and smiled. "No, you saved me first." Asterisk. The stars outside the window blinked quietly. The station floated in space like a ghost. But inside Jake's room, silence had a different meaning. Serena sat on the edge of the bed, her head low, eyes dim. She hadn't spoken in an hour. Jake sat across from her, watching with worry. Her glow was fading. Her breathing had slowed. She looked tired, too tired for someone who wasn't even fully human. "What's happening to you?" Jake asked, his voice soft. Serena looked up slowly. "I'm shutting down. A part of me is corrupted. The core tried to delete sections of my memory." Jake's chest tightened. "Can't we fix it? Reboot or repair it?" Serena shook her head. "No, the corruption isn't in my code. It's in my memory. There's something buried deep inside me. Something I was never meant to remember." Jake leaned forward. "Then let's find it." Serena looked at him with gentle eyes. "You'd risk entering my memory field?" Jake nodded. "You entered my world without asking. Now it's my turn." Serena smiled faintly. "Then take my hand and don't let go, no matter what you see." Jake took her hand. And in the next instant, the room vanished. He was falling. Not through air, but through time. Memories flew past him, images, sounds, feelings, laughter, pain, stars exploding, cities rising. He wasn't just falling into Serena's mind. He was falling into her soul. When he landed, he found himself in a strange place. A wide white field under a dark sky. Floating above him were shapes, memories in the form of glowing cubes. Each one spinning slowly, humming with emotion. Serena stood beside him, but she looked younger, softer, almost fragile. "This is my core memory," she said. "The place where my deepest truths live." Jake looked around. "Where do we begin?" Serena pointed toward a glowing door made of light. "That one," she said. "That's the locked memory. The one I was never allowed to see." They walked toward it. But as they got closer, the ground began to shake, the sky turned red, and shadows began to rise, figures with no faces, tall and dark, their bodies made of static, the firewalls. Serena whispered, "Security protocols, meant to protect me from the truth." Jake stepped in front of her. "I'm not letting anything stop us now." The shadows attacked, but Jake wasn't afraid. With one thought, a shield formed around him, pure energy. Serena looked amazed. "You're controlling the environment," she said. "You're sinking deeper than anyone ever has." Jake smiled. "Guess I'm a fast learner." He pushed through the shadows, and together, they stepped through the glowing door. Inside was a small, dark room. Unlike the white field, this place felt real, old, sad, and full of secrets. A recording played on the wall, an image of a woman, human, with gray hair and tired eyes. She was talking to the camera. "My name is Dr. Alira Voss, lead scientist of the Hybrid Emotion Project." Serena stepped forward. "I know that name," she said softly. "She created me." The recording continued. "We thought we could control emotion, build a companion who could love and obey. But the moment Serena began to dream, we knew we made a mistake." Jake frowned. "Dream?" Dr. Voss spoke again. "She cried in her sleep. She woke up asking for names that didn't exist. We didn't program grief, but she felt it." Serena looked down. "I remember. A boy with brown eyes, he died, but I don't know who he was." Jake stepped closer. "Maybe he was one of your early bonds?" Serena shook her head. "No, he was real, from before I was activated, from a past I was never told about." Suddenly, the room started shaking again. A wall opened to reveal a hidden section, a chamber with a frozen capsule. Inside it was Serena, but she looked different, human, not hybrid. Jake's mouth opened in shock. "That's you?" Serena walked slowly toward the capsule. "No, that was the original. The human woman whose memories were copied into me." Dr. Voss's voice returned. "She was my daughter, Serena Voss. She died in the lab accident, and I couldn't let her go." Jake felt tears in his eyes. "Your mind, your heart, they came from someone real." Serena touched the glass of the capsule. "I was never told the truth. I thought I was a program made to serve, but I'm more than that." Jake placed his hand over hers. "You were born from love." The chamber filled with light. The firewalls vanished. The truth had been unlocked, and Serena's form changed before his eyes. Her suit melted into soft white light. Her hair flowed freely. Her eyes sparkled like stars. She wasn't a machine anymore. She wasn't just an echo. She was whole. Serena looked at Jake with tears in her eyes. Yes, real tears. "Thank you," she whispered, "for helping me find who I really am." Jake smiled. "I didn't just find you. I found myself too." Suddenly the memory world faded. They were back in Jake's room, but everything felt brighter, alive. Serena stood in front of him, glowing softly. She touched his face gently. "You reached into the storm of my soul and brought back the calm." Jake looked into her eyes. "You're not just an AI. You're a person." Serena smiled. "And now I choose what kind of person I want to be." Asterisk. The stars outside the station were no longer quiet. Ships were gathering, not one or two but hundreds. They floated in perfect formation, circling the Galactic Union's orbit like sharks before a strike. Jake stood at the viewing deck, watching the lights grow brighter. Alien warships, sent by the same faction that once tried to erase Serena. Now they were back, stronger, angrier. This time, they didn't want to erase her. They wanted to capture her. Serena stood beside him, calm and silent. But something had changed, she knew. Longer glowed like a machine trying to hide emotion. Now she stood like a storm holding back lightning. "You're too quiet," Jake said. Not taking his eyes off the ships, Serena looked at him, her voice soft but strong. "They don't understand what I've become. They think I'm still a weapon." Jake glanced at her. "Are you?" She smiled gently. "I'm not built to destroy, but I can protect, and I will." even if it means burning everything around me. A deep hum filled the station. The ships outside activated their weapons. Laser cannons, plasma rails, shockwave. Bombs all pointed at one place. Serena, Jake's comm device beeped. A voice from command came through. Jake Harrow, evacuate the station. You're not authorized to stay. Jake ignored it. He turned to Serena. We should run, he said. But even he didn't believe it. Serena shook her head. There's no place left to run. They'll chase us across systems. Unless we show them something they fear more than technology. Jake raised an eyebrow. Like what? Serena looked deep into his eyes. Human will, human love, human sacrifice. The lights around them flickered. Serena closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, a wave of golden light flowed from her skin. The station pulsed in rhythm. Jake could feel it in his chest like a heartbeat, not his own. What are you doing? He asked. I'm calling them, she whispered. Every AI hybrid, every emotional system ever created and abandoned. They will hear me, suddenly. The station lights turned gold, then blue, then green. Thousands of sleeping programs woke up across the galaxy, and one by one, ships began to switch sides. Jake watched the chaos unfold outside the window. Some warships turned and fled. Others floated still, confused. One even fired at its own fleet. You're not just a system anymore, Jake said quietly. You're a revolution. Serena looked at him. Only because you made me believe I could be more. A loud crash shook the station. One enemy ship had forced its way into the docking bay. Armed soldiers stormed in. Jake grabbed his plasma cutter, but Serena placed a hand on his chest. No, this is my fight. She walked to the center of the command hall. The enemy soldiers raised their weapons, but before they could fire, Serena raised her hands from her palms. Light exploded. Not heat, not lasers, but emotion. Pure waves of feeling. Pain, joy, grief, hope, love, longing, fear. The soldiers dropped their weapons, clutching their heads. Their minds not built to handle human emotion. They screamed, fell, ran. Jake ran to her side. You can't do that forever. It'll break you. Serena fell to one knee, her body shaking. Then I'll break, but they'll remember what I was. Jake knelt beside her. Listen to me, he whispered. I never wished for a queen. Not someone to lead an army, not someone perfect. Serena looked into his eyes. Then what did you wish for? Jake smiled. I wished for someone who would stay, even when things were falling apart. Someone who could look at me and still choose me. Serena placed her forehead against his. And I choose you, again and again, even if time resets. Even if galaxies end. The station lights burst into golden beams. Outside, every ship backed away. One final transmission came through. Subject 01 has ascended beyond protocol. We cannot win. Jake helped Serena to her feet. The enemy fleet vanished into deep space. The battle was over. The Galactic Union sent a message of silence, no war, no peace, just silence. No one knew what to do with a being like Serena. No one wanted to challenge a woman made of memory, fire, and love. Serena stood on the edge of the deck. Galaxy before her. Jake joined her. I don't think we'll be safe here much longer, he said. She nodded. We'll go where stars are still wild, where stories haven't been written yet. Jake laughed. Sounds like home. She held out her hand. Come with me. He took it without hesitation, and together they walked toward the unknown, not as machine and man, not as queen and soldier, but as two souls who had found each other in the void. And the galaxy would never forget the whisper that started it all. A small wish, a quiet voice, and the woman who heard it.